There's that star. It's amazing how bright it is. There's another one, but you can't see that one. There you can. See it? That's a star. Right there. And then that's a star. And then that's the moon. Right there. But this star, that's bright star. That's a planet, actually. That's not a star. That's a star. Hello, my fellow YouTubers. This is Roy back again. An experiment here I wanted to showcase you guys. I have a grounding rod in the back here in the ground a foot. Okay, it's not even a grounding rod, it's a piece of rebar pounded in the ground, okay, through the cement. I have a 14 gauge wire right here, THN wire, and that's representing ground. That is connected to one side of my spark gap here, my vibrator gap, you can call it. And the negative or the positive side of this vibrator gap, the positive goes to the ground here. The negative side goes to the aerial. And the aerial here, I had this 1/8 inch thick aluminum, 3/4 inch wide, 36 inch long aluminum. And what I wanted to showcase here was that when I turn this on, and we're set up to frequency, on the frequency counter, to count the frequency. Look, coming out of this cylinder coil. We're using 2-car batteries, 24 volts, going into this DC controller, coming out of the controller into the coil. Now, what is going on here, this is fascinating. When this is turned on at a certain frequency, I'll show you the frequency range. And this aluminum bar is vibrating. And it's vibrating electrically to where I can put my hand on it or right over it and I can feel the vibration. And because my feet is touching the ground, the space in the middle here is vibrating. It's vibrating. It's 100% vibrating. And I did an experiment with this on these little orange blocks that I have around here, and I had it about 3/4 inch off the ground. And the closer to the ground with a gap, I thought it would be real strong with these blocks, and it wasn't. I get a better action when it's above the ground, because it seems like the whole airspace itself is vibrating. It's phenomenal, I'm telling you, phenomenal. I have another rebar down in the ground here, a foot, and it comes up and it's right here. So I have this right here go into a germanium full wave bridge rectifier into a capacitor. Now this voltmeter right here that says 12 volts, believe is hooked up to this right here. So if I touch this, it should dead short it, and that should go down to 0. There it is. See it moving? Down to 2, down to 0. So the volts is down to 0. This one here is running off the ground. That ground is connected to this. This has the voltmeter. This has a little aerial. And when I turn this on, that should charge the capacitor. When I turn off the system, the capacitor is holding the charge, okay? Over here is just another one. This is my first one I made. This one's coming off the ground as well. This one has a capacitor. But this one I use as a variable for me, because I have a LED hooked up to this, okay? And I have the capacitor separated by diodes, germanium diodes, so I don't lose the charge. I'm separating the charge from the light, because what will happen is I'll turn on the system, the capacitor would fill up, the light would be on, and as soon as I turn off the system, the light would fade out and bleed out the capacitor. So here what I've done is allowed the capacitor to hold the charge, and I'm using the light as a variable. So when I adjust over here, we'll look up there, I can make the light go dim and go bright, and then it's based on frequency. And I found out in the frequency, it's in between 75,000 hertz to 130,000 hertz. So in that frequency range, we are getting a charging system working through this whole array here by just using an RF signal and vibrating. We're vibrating the ground. So yeah, this is interesting. So let's go ahead. What we're going to see first is, you can see frequency is set to 0. I'm going to go ahead and turn this on. It's on. We're at frequency, we're at 112,000 hertz, kilohertz. It says OL. If I change, see the volts ain't showing up here. If I go up higher and bring it down. So the happy range here is like 11.9. Our frequency is 116,000 hertz. And our light is on. And this one, we'll turn this off. And then the volts will show up. And that's volts. I have this under 600 DC volts. And we're at 18, 19 volts saved in this capacitor. And it's because these two systems here are connected to the ground. And they also, and the ground and the air are vibrating right now, is what we're doing. This is freaking awesome, because we're vibrating.